Welcome to episode number 4 of the Girlz Girl Podcast. Today we're going to talk all about being alone. What does it mean to be alone? Reframing our mindset about being alone, tips for being alone, all the things. I feel like I have mastered the art of being alone. Ever since I was 15 years old, I was in relationships. Had my first boyfriend when I was like 15. That one ended, met someone else, we dated. That one ended, met someone else, we dated. And I'm telling you, there was maybe a month, 2 months in between each, and I was doing no healing in between. Not even healing from the relationships themselves, but not really like understanding and knowing who I was as a girl, as a woman, before entering another relationship. So I obviously as we get older too, we learn a lot about ourselves. Obviously, with time and age comes learning more about ourselves. So time has passed, but so have a lot of lessons that I've learned. So I was a huge avid serial dater, like serial killers. They do it consecutively. I dated consecutively. I remember always telling myself, I'm a happy, independent girl. I know what I want. I can date. I just want to be in a relationship because I like that. Like, who doesn't want to be in a relationship and do all the fun life things with, Obviously, I've learned to find value in doing things alone. But when you don't know that yet, obviously, like all the things you want to do, like go to a pumpkin patch, go to a coffee shop, go to a new restaurant, you feel like you have to have someone to do those things with. And what happened again was I obviously moved away from my twin sister and my little brother when I was younger. So instead of like really learning how to explore my solitude at that age, I had just resorted right to sports and relationships to fill my time, to fill that like hole that was missing, if you will. So I just want to kind of give a little backstory on how much I understand being alone is hard. Because up until I really discovered how to, I never saw the day where being alone felt like a possibility for me. I mean that. And now I have entered, friendships, relationships, and all of that with my alone time and my, me being the priority as still number 1 on my list. And I used to freaking push myself all the way down to the bottom when I met friends, when I was around family, when I had a boyfriend. I, was always at the bottom of the list of priorities because I got so much fulfillment out of doing things for other people. And I know a lot of you struggle with that. I know because I've been there. I know because I still struggle with being alone. Let's just get into lesson number 1 from, learning how to be alone. When you are alone, which is the reason that we all avoid the hell out of it, is because when you're alone, you have to sit with your thoughts. When you don't have anyone to talk to, when you are in complete silence, things that you've been through will come up. People that you've crossed paths with, and things they've done to you will come up. Past jobs, past friendships, past this, that, and the other, it comes up and it's good. But we all like to avoid that because it's scary and it feels hard and it feels overwhelming and it feels like a lot. But when I just said, Courtney, if you, continue to be in relationships, continue to have friends that, don't even know who you are, have no respect for you, then you're going to find yourself in a shit position, in 20 years. And I thankfully, checked myself at the age that I'm at, which I will literally forever be thankful for, because I know so many people, because I've always had older friends, because I'm mature. But I have family members, friends that are older that are all struggling with things that I struggle with, and they have yet to work through them. And granted, working through things and becoming, a better version of yourself is a everlasting journey. So don't think it's going to stop. But a lot of us, truly, I know so many women, so many men close to me that have never just sat alone and said, I'm going to face this shit. I'm going to cry. I'm going to force myself to be alone again, even though the last time I did it, it was a shitstorm. Like, you just have to, you got to stick to it. And when you can learn to do that, you can do absolutely motherfucking anything, okay? You can exercise, you can say no, you can achieve goals that you never thought you could. You just, like, I'm telling you, let's get into it, okay? Let's talk about the difference between loneliness and alone time. So loneliness is like an emotional state, if you will, the feeling of loneliness. And when we're alone, that's like a physical state. So loneliness, we're feeling alone, our emotions are involved, but being alone means, like right now, I'm literally just sitting in this room by myself, okay? Let's get that clear. This is how you can decide whether you're lonely or alone. If you're in a room full of people and you still feel alone, you are not in the right room. And that is the rooms that I used to be in. And now if I don't want to be in a room, I'm a good Irish goodbyer. I'll walk out. Guess what? The people, majority of the time that I Irish goodbye on, never ask where I went, never checked on me. And that tells me that my intuition was right when I felt alone in that room. Okay, so let's get that straight. Let's talk about why you might feel that way. If you're in a room and you feel lonely, that's because you maybe can't be authentic in that room. Maybe your intuition's telling you those people aren't good for you, or that situation's not good for you. But we would rather feel the feeling of loneliness than be in the state of being alone. Isn't that crazy? We would rather be in the wrong room, in the wrong relationships, at the wrong job, the wrong what the hell ever, than being in a room alone. And let me tell you, I would much rather be here, sitting right here by myself every damn day, than be in a room full of people who don't know who I am, who don't have respect for me, who don't have similar values as me, who don't teach me anything. And that's just that. That's all I gotta say on that one. So let's talk about like the benefits of being alone. And now, again, we're talking about the physical state of being alone. We're not talking about loneliness. We're talking about the physical state of being alone. I want to talk about a couple of the things that come from being alone, like the benefits of solitude, if you will. And I have had a 180 increase in creativity, self-reflection, which has led to so much personal growth, reduced stress, the ability to recharge. The amount of stress that I always was, ask my family, my friends, I was like stressed. I screamed, you're stressed. I screamed, you're a little uptight. And people didn't want to be around me because I wasn't present. I wasn't happy. I wasn't really the nicest person in the world, even though I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so nice. I wasn't. And now that I've spent time alone and looked back at the feedback that I've gotten, by people saying, you're not here. I know, I was not there. And the way that I used to work 60 plus hours a week, do bodybuilding on top of that, hang out with friends on the weekends, go out and drink, and I would have a relationship to attend to. Where is there time for me? Where is there time to recharge? Where is there time to figure out what's actually going on in my life? Where is there time to reflect and learn about myself? It was just go, 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 surround myself with people, because I would rather be lonely and stressed than be alone. It's so crazy to say those things because the way that they are just so untrue now is gorgeous, but it's crazy to say. So in light of reframing our like perspective on being alone and loneliness, I want you to really focus on why you have such a hard time being alone. Is it because you know when you're going to be sitting in a room alone that you are going to have to deal with some shit? Is it because you know that when you're alone that you're going to feel sad, that you're going to feel scared? Like, what is it? Like, I want you to ask yourself that. And I want you to reframe that mindset to say, I am going to create an opportunity for myself to have more relaxation, introspection, self-exploration. Like, those are the things that come with being alone. But if you keep telling yourself being alone is just scary, being alone is going to make me feel like this, then you're probably going to run from it. Okay? She's a runner, she's a track star. I hope that made sense. I wanted to first describe the difference between loneliness and being alone. So now that we've covered that, let's talk about finding happiness within. I have never, ever had the opportunity to explore my passions, which is why I'm here, which is why I'm a girl's girl, which is why you're a girl's girl, which is why this podcast is a thing, is because I got into the fitness industry and my career when I was 17 years old. So 9 years ago, I got into my career and I was in relationships and always had friends that, was in big groups of friends to where I didn't have to, ever really be alone. And everything was just so like routine. I was like, I have friends, I have a boyfriend, I have a job, sick, let's rock. I didn't know that I had interests. I did know that I had interests outside of fitness, but how was I supposed to honor and make time for those when I had no time for myself? I'm telling you, in relationships, I would barely have I would be brushing my teeth, washing my face. That's the only thing I did for myself every day. I would make someone dinner. I would fold their laundry. I would, go to the store for them to make their day easier, even with all the things I had going on in my life. And guess what? They didn't even notice. So all that time, wasted. I'm just kidding. That's still me, okay? I'm not saying now I'm a savage and I'm not doing shit for nobody, but I'm saying that before I do any of that, I'm gonna show up for me first, because I know that if I show up for me first, you're gonna get the best version of me, not the version that's trying to show you how amazing I am. I now know that I am a catch. So I gotta keep taking care of myself so that I remain a catch. All right? I got a whole skincare routine I gotta do before I fold your t-shirts. We're going on a tangent there. So let's talk about how being alone has encouraged me to do so many new things, such as new activities, finding things that resonate with me personally. Here's the thing: when you have friends, when you make a decision to go do something with friends, it's like, hey, what do we want to do? What do we want to eat? What do we da-da-da-da-da? When you are by yourself, you get to say, this is what I want for dinner. That's what I'm going to have. Whatever it is, the decision is yours. And when you start to learn so much about yourself when you do that, because you're going to realize the things that you can do when you're alone, such as exploring new passions, such as practicing gratitude a little bit more often, those things are the root of your happiness. If you can't even sit with yourself in a room alone, how are you supposed to say, dear God, I am so thankful for the ability you've given me to provide for myself, the, heart that I have, the work ethic that I have, for the family that's around me, for the friends that I found. How do you ever just stop and appreciate things when you don't spend time alone? This topic gets me passionate. I truly believe too, the things that I've done alone. Let me use an example. I'm not kidding you. Say, for instance, I go out with friends. They want to drink. I drink. Because that's what everyone else wants to do. That's what we're doing. But now, this was prior. Now, I'll go out to dinner by myself, I'll get a drink, and I'll be like, what the fuck? This doesn't even taste that good. I don't like how this makes me feel. I'm gonna have a headache tomorrow. The amount of clarity that comes with every situation when you're by yourself, I'm telling you, if you can't look at yourself and say, this is what I want, this is what I like, this is what I know, then you need to spend more time alone. Granted, I will still go out, hang out with friends, but I tell them I don't really like to drink. But I'll boogie with you. I'll do a little boogieing with you. I love to dance, but I don't need to drink. You can do that. Ain't nothing to it. It's just like when you're eating healthy and people have some shit to say about it. Oh, let me guess, you can't eat with us. Ever been told that? Oh, let me guess, you can't have this. Listen up, Joanne. If you want to eat your food, you can. Coco's gonna eat her food. I have an intolerance to lactose. Of course I would like to eat that pizza, but I want to feel good tomorrow, so I'm not gonna. Doesn't mean I'm better than you. Doesn't mean I think that you're unhealthy. If I could eat that pizza and feel like a 10 out of 10, then I would. All right? Okay, dating ourselves. Let's talk about this one. Y'all know I'm the queen of dating myself. I haven't taken myself on a date in a while, which I need to. But I was going out on too many dinner dates. I was like, girl, you need to watch your figure, okay? You can't just be going. And here was my mindset real quick around me going out to dinner by myself. I would say, okay, usually, in relationships or whatever, I was typically the one to pay for meals. I said it. But now that I'm by myself, I'm like, okay, I only have one person to pay for. So I'm going to get a glass of wine. I'm going to get an appetizer. I'm going to get a meal. And it's just like before. My fitness goals are still important, okay? As is dating myself, but I still want to be a healthy girl. Let's talk about dating yourself. Solo activities can be such meaningful experiences. Let me break that down a little bit more. When I have really practiced self-care, and that means, again, just like spending time alone, practicing gratitude a little bit more often, surrounding myself with people who make me feel a little bit more worthy. I cannot tell you how. Let me just tell you. Let's just talk about going on a date by yourself. I said this in my last podcast, or one of the ones. When I walk into a room, a restaurant, a workout class, a coffee shop, it is uncomfortable. Has the anxiety around it gone away? Yes, but has the it still feels a little bit uneasy, unsettling, uncomfy. I still feel like a loser sometimes when I'm sitting at a dinner table by myself. But when you cut the BS, I have, not even kidding you, made a friend on every single solo date I've been on. I've literally met new connections, new clients. And what happened was, instead of sitting there sabotaging myself and feeling like I'm a raging alcoholic for sitting at the bar drinking a glass of wine by myself. Why? Who told you that? Who told you that, girl? You're sexy. You drink your wine, you eat your sushi, and the girls next to you, those two friends that are giggling, ask them what they're giggling about. I love sitting at the bar. Sometimes it is nice to go sit in a booth, sit at a table by yourself and really embrace alone time, but I'm telling you, go sit at the bar. There is always going to be another alone person there. There's going to be two friends sitting there. There's going to be a couple sitting next to you. And I literally will just tap on them and be like, hey, what did you order? Hey, you should try this drink that I got. It's really good. And I'm telling you, the amount of friendships that I've cultivated through dates alone. How else are you supposed to go out and meet people other than dating apps? I'm sorry. I don't like them. Every experience I've had on there, I think a big part is the societal expectations of being alone, being around people, having a big group of friends. Those are things that we're told are normal, that make you happy. I am the happiest I've ever been not being in a relationship for a while, having 1 to 2 friends. Of course, there's acquaintances in the world. We love them, we know them. But 2 people that I could call when I need something. And I know there's more of them out there, but those are just the ones that I'm attending to right now. I saw this quote the other day that said, the only way to find yourself is to lose yourself first. I completely lost myself in relationships. And I'll admit that for the sake of you cutie pies. I gave all of my energy, all of my heart and soul to other people because I thought that that's what would make me happy. I had this conversation with someone the other day. I did not know what my values were until I spent time alone. Because when you are constantly around other people, you don't know what your own values are. My values are my inner peace, trust. If I don't have trust in any sort of relationship, you can be there, but we're not going to talk so much. The thing is, if you don't have inner peace within yourself, how are you going to find peace within someone else? If you don't trust yourself, how are you going to go trust someone else? If you don't do these things, like another one of my values would be just like growth and learning. If I don't have that within myself, how am I going to go expect me to find someone else who's aligned with that value, who wants to grow and learn and, continue to reach their goals if you're not doing that shit? Okay, that's the things you need to figure out when you're alone. That's the things that you do figure out when you are alone. All of this being said, the art of being alone, I will say you cannot discover yourself by yourself. How do you know what is right and wrong if you've never been in the wrong situations, if you've never been in the right situations? If you're just, I do not want you to go isolate yourself, because that's sad. We don't want that. I want you to continue to go on dates. I want you to continue to meet friends. And I want you to learn about yourself through these people, because we only know what we know. We've only had our own experiences. So meeting other people really does teach you about yourself. And I'm telling you, all of these relationships that I was in, all of the friendships that I was in, all of the job situations I was in, taught me everything I need to know about myself. But what the alone time has done is allowed me to reflect on all of that. We learn about ourselves every single day, and the things that we do if we just slow down and reflect and, think about how we were impacted by it, why we did that, why we feel this way, where did that come from? That's why you become happier spending time in solitude, because you start to learn about yourself. Let me give you some tips on dating yourself. This is my challenge to you. I feel like I want to start some challenges, because I don't want to just have you listen to a podcast. I want you to leave a podcast and have actionable items, okay? Because that's how I learn. Someone talks to me, you got to tell me what the fuck to go do next, okay? Or else I'm just cool, listen to that. Let me tell you what you need to do. Wake up and make yourself breakfast. I want you to wake up 5 minutes earlier to make yourself a coffee and listen to a song. I want you to put in your calendar this week, I'm going to take myself on a date this week, and it's going to be uncomfortable as all hell. But you text me, you message me, you ask me where you should go, you send me a picture of your outfit, I'm going to help you choose it, okay? You can FaceTime me while you're on your little date by yourself, and we'll get through it together. I want you to set out your outfit for yourself if you're going to work out in the morning. If you can take 10 minutes out of the day to do one thing that's going to set you up for success tomorrow, you love yourself. I was meal prepping for boyfriends that I had. I was folding their laundry, and mine was in a hamper that I would just pick out of every day. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, you know how to give care, you know how to give love, you know how to give affection. Give that to yourself. I want you to think of, how do I show up in relationships? Do that shit to yourself. If you knew that your sister or your brother or your boyfriend or your girlfriend was at work and they had no lunch, what would you do? Probably bring them lunch, right? Why can't you do that to yourself? You have the ability. The only thing that's holding you back is you and thinking that you are not as worthy of them as that thing. Okay? Use the abilities that you have and just there's really like no simple answer. I wish I could say, it'll come. You just gotta fucking do it. Wake up, make yourself breakfast, pack a lunch, exercise, drink water. I'm telling you, when you do those little things, you care about yourself. A couple more tips just to kind of finish us off. Find people. Here's the thing. I always knew I was strong, independent. I always knew I had it in me, but I was constantly finding people, finding myself in relationships with people, friends, family, people who needed so much from me that I was willing to give. So then I just began to feel more unworthy of getting those things in return, which made me want to do those things even more because I was like, baby, I'm not doing enough. I was around the wrong people. One of the biggest tips I have for you in navigating your independence, your alone time, is friends that you can set boundaries with and say, hey, I'm not a big, texter. Hey, I have a lot going on. I love you, but I don't want to hang out all the time. I need, a couple nights out of the week to recharge. Like, let's hang out every other week. I would drop everything I was doing to go make sure another person's needs were met. But now when I meet a friend, when I meet a significant other, when I'm around family, I say, hey, my me time is what I need right now. I'm going to do that. No hard feelings. So building relationships with people like that who understand that and also have those abilities themselves are really, really important. People who are still doing their own healing, people who can't stand the thought of being alone either. Like, you're never going to get there if those are the kinds of people that you continue to surround yourself with, okay? I know it sounds so simple and I know it's not, but like when you're sitting by yourself, I want you to think like, wow, I've been through a lot. Wow, I have accomplished a lot. Wow, I have XYZ person who loves me. Wow, I react like this. Wow, I want you to just sit with yourself when you're alone. And I wish I could tell you that it's going to be fun, but the amount of times that I have cried and still cry when I'm sitting by myself, even out of like happiness, let's stop talking so sad. How do you ever celebrate the amazing things that you're doing when you're moving at 100 million miles an hour? I have had so many accomplishments. I have, won bodybuilding competitions. I have gotten promoted into really big roles at my previous jobs. I've started my own business. I've done so many things that I never, ever, ever gave myself credit for because I was like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Like, sit with yourself and celebrate yourself. Say, I drank all my water today. You're a bad bitch. Like, little things like that. When you're alone, I need you to balance with the hard shit that's gonna come up, okay? I also want to reframe one more thing. Have you ever heard of the term FOMO? Fear of missing out? Let's turn that into JOMO. Joy of missing out. I'm speaking in terms of like things that you don't really value. Think of like the ideas that could come up with you being alone instead of you, getting done with a long work week and just going to drink or going to do this, activity. If you're by yourself, like reflect on the week. Say, what can I do better next week? What makes me happy outside of what I'm currently doing? I need you to do this reframing. When you are thinking of like a relationship that you've been in and like, oh my gosh, I am not good enough. It didn't work out. Maybe I should have done this better. Maybe I should have done this better. Sure. Acknowledge that. Be self-reflective. But I want you to always have like a positive with a negative. And that's a trick that I use. For an example, instead of saying, this relationship didn't work out because I suck or I'm unworthy of being loved, I want you to say, thank goodness that bullet has been dodged. One of the biggest things that I've done was tell myself, my last job that I left, I talked about this in my last podcast, how it really just tore me down to the point of starting my business. If I just sat there and said, oh my gosh, I was not qualified, I was not good enough, there's things, of course, there's some truth to that, where I was like, okay, if I had the confidence that I have now, if I had the skill level that I do now, I probably could have navigated through a lot of those, dramatic situations a little bit better if I could go back in time. But I really think of like, look at what's come out of that. Look at the way that I've started a business, my fitness business. I thought I was going to have this, specific thing at the end of the year. And it's totally taking a turn. And I'm just like, thank God for what this is teaching me about myself. Like, I want you to think of everything bad for what it teaches you, everything hard for what it's teaching you, everything that you feel when you're alone for what it's teaching you. And I am excited for you. And I want you guys to know, this is my official announcement. I am launching a course for the girly pops. Maybe the boys can have it too, but this is a girl group chat, girl this, girl that, okay? No boys allowed. I am creating a course where everything that I just mentioned in this podcast, being alone, I'm going to hold you accountable to. Not just what the fuck you eat for breakfast, not just the snacks that you have, not just the amount of steps that you get in throughout the day. I'm going to say, did you take yourself on a date this week? I'm going to say, what did you do for yourself today? I'm going to say, what reflecting did you do today? I'm going to say, what is something that you need to work on right now, okay? Because we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. We're always going to be learning and changing and evolving. If you're having troubles in your relationships or your friendships, I'm going to make you do some reflection. We're going to talk about it. I'm so into working on this project and excited to launch it. You guys have no idea. And I swear, I had this idea where instead of obviously taking progress pictures and stuff is a big thing, but if I could go back, there's pictures of my face from when I was 21 to now where I look like a different person. I look 48 when I was 21, and now hopefully I look 25, which is how old I am. Nothing has changed other than I know who I am. I have healthier things around me. I make healthier choices, healthier relationships. I value my time. I can be alone. Telling you, it's aged me in reverse. So I think it would be so crazy and cool to have just testimonials of girls' selfie day 1, selfie day, X, and just to see this course. I will not launch it until I know that it's going to change your life. And the way that it's just going to be so cohesive with the merchandise that I'm coming out with, the podcast, the way that things that we're struggling with in the group are going to, create conversations for the podcast. And I'm so excited. Everything that I've been through this year, every job I've quit, everything I've given myself grace on has led me to feeling the most passionate about something that I ever have in my whole life. And I'm going to run with that for as long as I feel it. Okay? Might change, but right now I'm feeling it. We're running with it. And I cannot wait to be back and have you little girlies with me. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. I will talk to you so soon. Peace out, girls.